Good evening, America. I'm Angie Russ, and welcome to N3 Prime Time, where we bring you the hottest stories we've been tracking. First up, Gary Franchi takes a deep dive into Donald Trump's Drain the Swamp campaign. Oh, and you won't believe what's unraveling in Washington's bureaucratic maze. And get this, Senator John Fetterman's casual wardrobe is flipping Senate traditions on its head. What's next? Flip-flops on the Senate floor? But hang on, Kevin McCarthy spills the tea on the GOP's 2024 prospects, and it's jaw-dropping. Meanwhile, Trump's unshakable spirit is shaking America to its core. Find out how, and you've got to hear about New Mexico's firearm fiasco. Governor Grisham's gun ban is sparking fireworks like it's the 4th of July. Plus, don't miss our comment section where we read your thoughts live on air. And in our Looking at You segment, we're zeroing in on someone stirring the pot in a big way. Over to you, Gary.
Good evening, America. Welcome to N3 Primetime. We've got a jam-packed show for you tonight, hitting all the hot-button issues that make you wonder what direction this great country is headed. From the battle over the federal workforce, should we drain the swamp or maintain the status quo, to the questionable relaxation of the Senate's dress code, we're seeing the erosion of tradition and values. Let's not forget the ideological clashes over the Second Amendment and the tantalizing 2024 GOP presidential nomination race. These aren't just news stories, folks. These are cautionary tales that illuminate the ideological battles for the soul of our republic. You know, it's like managing your personal finances. You wouldn't let someone that you don't trust handle your hard-earned money, would you? Similarly, who we put in power matters immensely in shaping our national character. And speaking of personal finances, let me draw your attention to Noble Gold Investments. Do you want to take control of your financial future but don't know where to begin? Just as we examine the options for America's future tonight, Noble Gold lays out your investment options plainly. And they're offering this massive, free 5-ounce silver America the Beautiful bullion coin for qualified accounts. Why settle for financial uncertainty when you can diversify into gold and silver? Noble Gold has an A-plus rating with a Better Business Bureau and tons of 5-star reviews. Head over to nextnewsgold.com and take control today. Now let's go back to Angie. Tell us what stories you're really excited to dive into on tonight's episode.
First up, a shocker. 41% of Americans are demanding an impeachment inquiry into President Biden and his family's financial shenanigans. Yeah, that's right. 41% want the truth, and we're going to dig deep into that. And speaking of the truth, the economy is tanking under Biden. 59% of Americans disapprove of how he's handling it. Guess who they trust to fix it? That's right, Donald Trump. We've got the numbers, and they're staggering. Oh, but there's more. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is gunning for transparency, announcing subpoenas for 9, count 'em 9, Biden family members. Are they hiding something? We're going to find out. And you won't believe this. President Biden, the so-called champion of equality, makes a cringeworthy racial blunder. You need to hear it first. Last but not least, the border crisis is spiraling into chaos. Migrants are released onto the streets. COVID is spreading, and it's clear Biden's policies are failing America. Don't miss our comments section where we read your thoughts and our special Looking at You segment, spotlighting someone you've got to know more about. All of this and more is coming up. Gary, let's get the show started. What's your first special report tonight?
Ladies and gentlemen of our great republic, there's an epic tussle brewing in the heart of Washington, one that could redefine the very pillars of our governance. Donald Trump, always one to defy convention, set his sights on an audacious goal: to strip away the bureaucratic layers that have grown thick over the decades, often suffocating progress. He's dubbed it draining the swamp, and it wasn't mere political theater. With thousands of federal employees potentially standing on a precipice, we find ourselves at a crossroads of history, and tonight we dive deep into the heart of this battle, pulling apart the intricate web of political maneuvering. And trust me, by the end, you don't want to miss our final thought on just how transformative this could be for America's future. In the storied history of our great republic, we have often seen battles of ideology play out on the national stage, but what we're witnessing now is quite different. It's a direct challenge to the status quo and the entrenched bureaucracy that has long governed the heart of Washington. Donald Trump, with his iconic rallying cry of "Drain the Swamp," aimed to reform and reconfigure the very machinery that operates our government. It was never just about catchy slogans, it was about real tangible change. Essential to this promise was the potential reshaping of the federal workforce, an audacious endeavor to redefine the boundaries of presidential power and to restore the balance between governance and accountability. So let's paint a picture. A staggering 50,000 federal employees, including some stationed in pivotal roles across the FBI, State Department, and the Pentagon, they all stand at the crossroads of this potential overhaul. These individuals, shielded by civil service protections, well, they have withstood the test of time, and they could see their employment statuses drastically altered. Now, you may wonder, is this merely speculative? Not in the least. During his tenure, Trump took the monumental step of signing an executive order that crafted a new category for federal workers. The so-called confidential, policy-determining, or policy-making positions were ushered into this new classification termed Schedule F. And this wasn't some minor bureaucratic shuffle. It's a transformative move. Workers under Schedule F would shed the protections that have safeguarded them against dismissal for decades. To get a clearer perspective, why not hear straight from the horse's mouth? Let's turn to the former president himself detailing his intentions. Watch.
Here are just some of the other things we must do with Republicans back in charge. We must pass critical reforms, making every executive branch employee fireable by the president. The deep state must and will be brought to heel. We will stop the radical Democrats from packing the Supreme Court with far-left justices.
The implications are monumental, yet the reactions from the establishment were predictably tumultuous. Jeffrey Tucker, in a revealing dialogue with Epoch Times senior editor Jen Jekelnik, illuminated just how rattling Trump's executive order was for the establishment. According to Tucker, this move had sent shockwaves of panic across the corridors of power. It's a must-see. Watch.
We should also remind people that as Trump was leaving office, I mean, he promised to come in and drain the swamp, right? But I don't think he understood how deep and wide that swamp really was. But by the end, he'd figured it out. And one of his last actions as president, he passed a thing called Schedule F, which would have reclassified potentially millions of permanent government bureaucrats as at-will employees, so that at least the president, whether it was Trump or somebody else, would have some control over the personnel that presumably responded to him and whose actions for which he has to take responsibility. It's just a very reasonable reform. Well, I tell you what, Jan, at that moment, there was mass panic in the public sector bureaucracies in this country. That was 2 weeks before the November 2020 election. The executive order was called was to reclassify any public sector employee that was dealing with policy, interpretive passing of regulations that affected the American people as subject to some sort of oversight from the elected branches of government. Now, that is an entirely reasonable reform. In fact, anybody listening now is probably shocked that we don't already have that system in place. Well, we don't have that system in place. Trump tried to put it in place. Well, I tell you what, there was mass panic. And at that moment, they just got absolutely desperate. They had to kill him at that moment, just because of this executive order. And when Biden took office, within hours after the inauguration, he passed a new executive order repealing that one. So just to give you an indication of how important this is to them.
Well, indeed, and for those of our viewers who are interested in learning more about how this so-called Schedule F executive order worked, I have an interview some months ago with one of the minds behind the creation of it. So I'd encourage you to look that up. Just look up Schedule F on American Thought Leaders. You'll find it.
That interview, by the way, because that's what we used to call journalism in this country. You found the guy who wrote the order, you interviewed him at great length. It was a very candid interview, an extremely significant executive order, a very important point of civic reform in this country, and only Epoch Times covered it in any kind of detail. So it's funny to me because no other media outlet, to my knowledge, really focused on this thing, and yet to the administrative state, which is the fourth branch of government in this country, this was the most significant action, I think, of the entire Trump presidency, and partially the reason for the events that we've seen unfold over the last week.
However, President Biden's administration isn't simply watching from the sidelines, swiftly reversing Trump's executive order. Biden has proposed a rule he hopes will set up barriers to such ambitious reclassifications in the future. The Federal Register, while outlining this new rule, is embroidered with accolades for civil service workers. It appears to minimize the pool of workers who might be subject to reclassification. But what really lies beneath? Well, on the surface, it's a protective measure for workers. Dig a bit deeper, and you begin to see the preservation of an antiquated bureaucratic structure, a system that has operated virtually unchallenged for an astounding 140 years. Now, as we delve deeper into this narrative, I want to take a moment to talk about something essential, our health. Like the foundation of our republic requires regular attention and rejuvenation in these trying times, there is a solution designed from the mineral zeolite. Pure Body Extra is a transformative spray and it promises detoxification at the cellular level. Our friends at Touchstone Essentials have an exclusive offer just for viewers like you. Reinvigorate your health. Prioritize it today. Head to detoxwithgary.com and see the transformation unfold. And navigating back to our main discussion, Donald Trump Jr. at the Turning Point 2023 Action Conference reemphasized his father's commitment to Schedule F. Echoing the zeal of Trump's initial vision, he reaffirmed that the ambition to drain the swamp was very much alive. Don't take my word for it. Let's hear him out.
The Constitution. They care about furthering their power, their agenda, and ultimately getting on a board seat of big war or whatever it may be. That's why the D.C. Beltway, they don't produce anything, and yet they're the richest counties in the world. Right? That's why they're so against Trump, because now he knows that part of it too, and that scares them more than anything. That's why he's going to implement Schedule F. You guys know what that is, right? Where you literally fire all the bureaucrats. Get rid of them all. And again, get rid of them all.
No question, that crowd was fired up for Schedule F. Now, amidst the swirling debates, the Biden administration's stance has crystallized within the Office of Personnel Management. Rob Shriver, its deputy director, vocally supports the new rule, emphasizing its legal grounding. The administration's perspective? Altering this system would necessitate a comprehensive legal reevaluation. Yet dissenting voices remain. James Shirk, instrumental in the conceptualization of Schedule F under Trump, believes that the dismantling of Biden's rule, should Trump return to power, would be straightforward. Liken it to a mere speed bump, he challenges the Biden administration's seemingly impregnable stance. Jason Miller of the Office of Management and Budget throws his weight behind this new rule, suggesting Trump's strategies only spotlight the vulnerabilities of our age-old system. Contrarily, Russell Vought, a former director of the very same office, critiques Biden's moves, reaffirming Schedule F's solid legal footing. Breitbart News, not one to shy away from controversy, underscores Trump's unrelenting focus on Schedule F, pinpointing it as a linchpin of his potential strategies in the future. And so, America, the chessboard is laid out, the pieces are moving, strategies are unfolding, and the very essence of how our republic functions is at stake. Throughout the annals of our republic, we've seen leaders make promises, some kept and many forgotten. But when it comes to drastically reshaping the entrenched bureaucracy, Trump's pledge to drain the swamp has the potential to echo through the ages. It's not merely about ridding ourselves of a stagnant system. It's about restoring vitality, vigor, and accountability to an apparatus that has long been insulated from consequential change. Welcoming Trump's endeavor isn't about picking sides. It's about embracing an evolution, freeing our government from the grip of the bureaucratic leeches that hinder our nation's progress. For those who cherish efficiency, responsibility, and a government that serves its people rather than its own interests, this could be the dawn of a rejuvenated America. And in that light, every patriot should hope for clearer waters ahead.
A shocking Reuters Ipsos poll reveals 41% of American voters demand an urgent impeachment inquiry into President Biden, focusing on allegations of influence, peddling, and dodgy business dealings with his son, Hunter Biden. That's right, 41%. The poll sampled 4,413 Americans and wrapped up just as Republicans announced their plans to spearhead the investigation. Republican-led efforts have already unearthed eye-popping bank records showing the Biden family receiving over $15 million from countries like China and Ukraine. Meanwhile, the White House continues to dismiss the allegations, labeling them a mere political game. If an impeachment vote occurs, don't expect the Democrat-controlled Senate to favor conviction. But let's remember, the American people are speaking loud and clear. They want truth, they want transparency, and above all, they want accountability. Dive deeper, get the whole story by tapping the link in our bio. Speaking of seismic shifts, the Senate's recent moves have many concerned. Gary, what's in the report?
Imagine a future where the hallowed halls of the Senate resemble scenes from Mike Judge's Idiocracy, a film that depicted a nation enamored by the frivolous, forsaking intellect for a mere spectacle. And tonight we delve into a startling change in our very own Senate, echoing eerie semblances to this satirical future. Stick around to understand the implications of this change, and you don't want to miss our final thought, a revelation that might just make you question the direction of our cherished republic. In the heartland of America, we value traditions and pride ourselves on the legacies we pass down. But what happens when our esteemed institutions start mimicking scenes straight out of a satirical movie? Remember Mike Judge's Idiocracy? Once thought of as just comedic fodder, this film eerily depicted a future where instant gratification and mindless entertainment become more prioritized than critical thinking and civic duty. The very foundations of a republic, built on respect and order, seem to be teetering on the brink of absurdity. Let's start with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, a name often touted as the embodiment of Senate decorum. Yet, in what can only be seen as a surrender to the increasingly casual and, dare I say, frivolous mood of our times, Schumer has rewritten the Senate's sartorial rulebook. The reasoning? To cater to Senator John Fetterman's inclination towards, well, let's just say less than formal attire. The Senate floor, once the epitome of statesmanship, is now inching closer to resembling the audacious court of President Camacho from Idiocracy. And before we move on, let's give you a visual insight into this burgeoning Senate spectacle. Remember this?
Ask you about this news that Speaker McCarthy has formally launched an impeachment or has said he's going to.
Oh my God, really? Oh my gosh, it's devastating. Ooh, don't do it. Please don't do it. Oh no, oh no.
So we gotta run back to the office, but
You saw that, right? Senator Fetterman, clad in what can generously be described as loungewear, reacts with near disdain to the monumental news of an impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden. This isn't about party politics, it's about understanding the gravity of situations. Much like in Idiocracy, where the most pressing issues are addressed with game show-like farce, are we now on the precipice of such a reality? And if you thought this deviation from the norm was limited to the Senate chamber, brace yourselves. The Globe took notice when Fetterman, in his leisurely sartorial choice, made an appearance at the French embassy preparing to meet the ambassador. John Fetterman wore basketball shorts and his utility shirt to the French embassy last night. I'm sure that went over well with the French ambassador. In times where Senate traditions erode and uncertainty looms, where does one find stability? Enter Noble Gold Investments. Investing in metals may seem daunting, but with Noble Gold, it's straightforward. Here at First Hand, the staff answered all my questions and helped me every step of the way. No pressure sales tactics, just honest guidance. Securing my future is less stressful with Noble Gold. Now, in this era resembling Idiocracy, isn't it time you found your footing? For a limited time, secure a free 5-ounce silver America the Beautiful coin for qualified accounts with an A+ Better Business Bureau rating and glowing 5-star reviews. It's clear where America's trust lies. Visit nextnewsgold.com, the beacon in our modern-day Idiocracy, the gold standard in these uncertain times. As we dive back in, Axios reports and tweets from reputable reporters like Chad Pergram substantiate Schumer's decision, for all intents and purposes, to casualize the Senate. Fox confirms that the Senate will no longer enforce a dress code for senators. Senators can now dress however they want. However, others entering the chamber must comply with the dress code. Coats and ties for men, business attire for women. Now, this isn't just about a tie or the lack thereof. This is about that tie and that decorum that tradition signifies. It's a symbol of respect for the office, respect for the people they serve, and an understanding of the gravitas of their role. When Fetterman stands on the Senate floor, or any other senator for that matter, in a manner reminiscent of idiocracy, what message are we sending to our youth? That governance is mere entertainment? That the Senate is just another stage for individual quirks rather than solemn deliberation? Senator Kyrsten Sinema, despite her sometimes avant-garde choices, doesn't depart from professionalism's bounds, so why should Fetterman? Perhaps just like the citizens in Judge's cinematic universe who watered crops with an energy drink, were mistaking the superficial for the substantial. In the intricate dance of democracy, or I should correct myself, our republic, every step, every gesture, every tradition matters. Are we then on the precipice of a new age where governance mimics satire, and where idiocracy isn't just a film, but a forewarning? America, as we conclude tonight's segment, we must reflect. The Senate has always been a beacon of deliberation and decorum. But under the leadership of Chuck Schumer, we're witnessing a dilution of the sanctity of this institution. A casual attire might seem insignificant on the surface, but it's emblematic of a deeper melee, a shift from the traditions that anchored our republic. As we drift towards the world of idiocracy, it's essential to ask, is this the legacy we wish to leave future generations? The Senate's grandeur isn't just in its marble pillars, but in the standards it upholds. And those, America, shouldn't be compromised for fleeting whims.
Americans are screaming for economic relief, and who do they trust? Donald Trump, not Joe Biden. A new Suffolk University USA Today poll reveals a jaw-dropping 59% of Americans disapprove of Biden's economic blunders. That's right, nearly 60%. But wait, there's more. When it comes to independence, the gap is even wider. 67% say the economy is nosediving under Biden, while 46% trust Trump to pull us out of this mess. These numbers don't lie. Inflation is skyrocketing. Your grocery bills proof enough. Household income, it's taken its biggest plunge in a decade this year. Contrast that with the Trump era where the economy hit record highs. Clearly, Biden is in over his head, and the American people know it. The people have spoken. They want a leader they can trust, and that leader is Donald Trump. Dive deeper. Get the whole story by tapping the link in our bio. In political news, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy makes a major revelation about Trump's future. Gary?
Now, you may think you've heard all there is to hear about the upcoming 2024 GOP nomination, but what you're about to discover tonight is something the mainstream media has been skirting around. A seismic shift is unfolding in the heart of the Republican Party. And by the end of this special report, you'll understand not only where the wind is blowing, but also why it's crucial for the future of our republic. So buckle up, and whatever you do, don't tune out before our final thought. It's a revelation that might just change how you view the political landscape. It's a spectacle in politics, a theater in which every actor, every move, and every statement is scrutinized, debated, and becomes fodder for the American dinner table conversation. But what we saw on this week's episode of Sunday Morning Futures wasn't just another piece of political theater. No, it was revelation, a declaration of where the winds are blowing in the Republican Party as we inch closer to 2024. Maria Bartiromo, always keen on getting answers, probed the House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Her target? The question that's been on the tip of everyone's tongue but hasn't received a clear answer until now. Would former President Donald Trump, despite facing a barrage of legal battles and indictments, still stand a chance of becoming the GOP's nominee in 2024? Well, McCarthy's response wasn't some vague political doublespeak. It was firm, confident, and crystal clear. Trump is not just in the race, he's leading it. As McCarthy put it, Trump is stronger today than he was in 2016 or 2020. But why? Why this renewed vigor and strength for a man who's been at the center of so much controversy? Well, the answer lies in actions and not words. McCarthy highlighted Trump's policies, the actual results achieved under his leadership. It was the America First approach that brought prosperity to our shores, kept our economy thriving, inflation at bay, and ensured America didn't falter in its stance on the world stage. It was under his leadership that America displayed a robust and undeniable strength to friends and foes alike. However, the discussion didn't stop there. The undercurrents of GOP politics brought another name into focus, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. His name has been bandied about as a potential contender, a new face for the GOP's future. With rumors swirling about a potential government shutdown, Bartiromo turned the spotlight on DeSantis' alliance with those championing this move. Now, it's crucial to understand the broader picture here. A government shutdown isn't just a political tactic. It has implications, real consequences for real people. And according to McCarthy, such a move could be a misstep. A government shutdown would unintentionally play into the Democrats' hands, bolstering Biden at a time when, as per McCarthy's insights, Trump is outdoing him in the polls. This isn't just a game of numbers. It's about the soul and future of our republic. Watch.
All of that, the policies that you mentioned of the Biden administration, is one reason that Donald Trump is leading in the polls right now. What's your take on this, that as we see more indictments of Donald Trump, he seems to be gaining in terms of popularity with the public? Will he be the nominee?
I think he will be the nominee. And the thing is, President Trump is stronger today than he was in 2016 or 2020. And there's a reason why. They saw the policies of what he was able to do with America, putting America first, making our economy stronger. We didn't have inflation. We didn't have these battles around the world. We didn't look weak around the world.
Well, it looks like Ron DeSantis is now trying to work with your colleagues who are pushing for a shutdown.
Yeah, but I don't think that would work anywhere. A shutdown would only give strength to the Democrats. It would give the power to Biden. It wouldn't pay our troops. It wouldn't pay our border agents. More people would be coming across. I actually want to achieve something. And this is where President Trump is so smart, that he was successful in this. You know, President Trump is beating Biden right now in the polls.
Yeah, we have the poll. Let's show it.
He's stronger than he has ever been in this process. And look, I served with Ron DeSantis. He's not at the same level as President Trump by any shape or form. He would not have gotten elected without President Trump's endorsement. And so I believe our best step forward, pass our appropriation bills so we're stronger. Take the wokeism out, secure our border to make America stronger.
Drawing a parallel to our health of our nation, consider this. 74% of adults in our republic are overweight, with 40% of those tipping into obesity. Think of this as the political weight we've accumulated over years of policy missteps and indecision, but there's always a way to back to health. Take the transformative power of CLA, a naturally sourced ingredient that aids in fat breakdown. Just as a supplement offers a path to physical health, making informed political choices provides a route to the healthier republic. Those seeking a new beginning with CLA should explore trimwithgary.com, but let's refocus on the political health at hand. DeSantis, for all his merits, according to McCarthy, just doesn't measure up to Trump. Not in charisma, not in leadership, and certainly not in the power of endorsement. McCarthy pulled no punches, highlighting that without Trump's endorsement, DeSantis might not have been elected. Those aren't just words. They paint a picture of Trump's lingering influence, his impact, and the potential trajectory of the GOP in 2024. Although McCarthy hasn't officially thrown his weight behind any candidate, the subtext was clear. His admiration for Trump is evident, a sentiment that's been reiterated time and time again in interviews, discussions, and press conferences. And if we're talking endorsements, let's not forget Trump, too, put his weight behind McCarthy, especially during his campaign to reclaim the position of Speaker earlier this year. To discerning viewers, to those tracking the nuances of GOP politics, McCarthy's statements were more than just words. They offered a glimpse into the heart of the Republican Party's sentiments, its strategy, and potential future. As the narrative around the 2024 nomination unfolds, the next chapters promise to be nothing short of gripping. So it's easy to get lost in the whirlwind of political statements, rumors, and conjectures, but at the end of the day, the decisions we make as a nation determine the path our republic walks for years to come. Kevin McCarthy's insights are a testament to that. The future isn't just decided in polling booths, but in conversations, endorsements, and the weight of past accomplishments. As we draw closer to 2024, it's essential to remember the power of informed choices, of understanding the broader picture beyond the headlines. Our republic's health, its direction, and its very soul are shaped by these decisions. So as the game unfolds, ask yourself, where do we want our great republic to go? And who do we trust to lead us there?
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is pulling no punches, announcing subpoenas for 9 Biden family members in the Republican-led impeachment inquiry. Why? To unravel the twisted web of influence peddling tied to Hunter Biden's overseas dealings. McCarthy wants answers on those cryptic pseudonyms and questionable emails between Biden and his son, specifically about Ukraine. Listen to this. McCarthy says, well, it looks like 9 Biden family members got money. I want to see bank statements. This inquiry will force the Bidens to disclose their financial wheelings and dealings, despite the White House crying foul, calling it all lies. The big question, what are they hiding? If there's nothing to see, then why all the pushback? America deserves the truth, and McCarthy is taking the steps to bring it to light. Dive deeper, get the whole story by tapping the link in our bio. A surprise twist in an NBC interview has everyone talking. Gary, what happened?
In an age where political narratives are spun faster than a whirlwind, a beacon of resolute strength emerges. Donald J. Trump, the 45th president, stands as the embodiment of unyielding determination, facing the tempest with an unblinking eye. In a recent interaction that has everyone talking, NBC's Kristen Welker pressed Trump about the sleep-stealing specter of jail time. His response, a masterclass in fearless leadership that left many awestruck. As we delve into this pivotal moment, you don't want to blink, and make sure you stay tuned. By the end, a final thought awaits that's so potent, you might find it reshaping the very way you perceive the American political theater. In the indomitable spirit of Donald J. Trump, it's been a beacon of resilience in American politics. With a penchant for making headlines, Trump, the 45th president of the United States, possesses an unmistakable brand of leadership, one characterized by unyielding courage and a refusal to bow down. His journey, a testament to the resolve that defines the very fabric of America, has left an indelible mark on the pages of our republic's history. In a recent interview with NBC's Kristen Welker, Trump again displayed the trademark tenacity that propelled him into the White House. Amidst swirling allegations and the looming specter of legal entanglements, Welker sought a chink in his armor, a hint of vulnerability. She asked directly, when you go to bed at night, do you worry about going to jail? A question like this would unsettle most. But Trump, with that fearless glint in his eye, responded, no, I don't really. I'm built a little bit differently. Watch.
I just want to hear from you on this. I want to know what's in your head. When you go to bed at night, do you worry about going to jail?
No, I don't really. I don't even think about it. I'm built a little differently, I guess, because I have had people come up to me and say, how do you do it, sir? How do you do it? I don't even think about it. These are corrupt people that I'm dealing with. They're destroying our country. I don't even think about it. All I think about is making the country great, making America great. Look, these are political, these are Banana Republic indictments. These are third world indictments. The President of the United States sees how we're doing. We have a movement, the likes of which has never happened in this country before. And you see it with the polls. I mean, I'm up on these people by 60 points and 59 points. I don't mean I'm at 59. I'm leading them by 59. You almost say, like, why are they campaigning? Asa Hutchinson, he's at 0. Christie's at 2. Other ones are at 1. DeSanctimonious is at 9. I just see a poll come. I mean, I'm leading him by 60 points.
Mr. President.
And you say, why are they doing it? But here's what they did. They saw this happening. And he went to the Attorney General of the United States, and he told them, indict Trump.
There's just no evidence of that, Mr.
Why?
President.
Because you mean
but let's stay on track.
Look at all the lies he's told.
Mr. President, I want to talk
Kristen,
about
wait a minute. Wait. Could I say one thing?
She says there's no evidence. Oh, we're going to find out soon enough, aren't we? Never surrender, President Trump. We thank you for all you're doing for this country. Now, Trump's response was more than mere words. It was a battle cry, one that epitomizes his entire political ethos. In this era, many politicians falter, waver, or backtrack in the face of controversy. Not Trump. He stands steadfast, anchoring himself in the belief that his mission for America is just, and the legal challenges against him are merely machinations of those who fear his influence. As many of us know, life is replete with challenges. Just as age brings about muscle loss after 30, leading to reduced strength and vitality, political journeys, especially those as audacious as Trump's, are laden with hurdles. But there is hope. With determination and the right support, we can surmount these obstacles. And speaking of support, there is a product that has been creating waves with potent ingredients Like MyHMB, creatine, betaine, and vitamin D3, it's redefining the fight against aging. Not merely about resisting muscle loss, this product amplifies endurance and performance. If you're intrigued, visit gainwithgary.com for a special offer of 41% off. If you're tuning in online, simply tap more below this video. Now, returning to the indomitable Trump, this contention that he's built a little differently is not mere bravado. It's the ethos of a leader who's faced unparalleled adversity and emerged even more robust, echoing the sentiments of millions of Americans who believe that the nation's destiny is brighter when unfettered by conventional political constraints. His descriptions of the indictments as Banana Republic and Third World allegations isn't just a soundbite, it's a reflection of deep-rooted skepticism that these charges are more about political gamesmanship than legal merit. It's any assertion many Americans resonate with, viewing them as part of a broader attempt to marginalize and silence the Trump-led political movement. For Trump, this isn't a mere legal skirmish, it's a fight for the soul of America. He sees these challenges as distractions from the real task at hand, rejuvenating America and restoring its glory. For a man with a skyscraper-sized vision for the country, personal indictments seem like pebbles on the path. Furthermore, Trump pointedly emphasized President Joe Biden's potential unease at Trump's undiminishing popularity. Quote, "The President of the United States sees how we're doing. We have a movement the likes of which has never been seen in this country before." That's what Trump declared. Trump's words, buoyed by his soaring poll numbers, suggest a deep connection with the vast sentiment of America, which feels increasingly alienated from mainstream political discourse. It's time to ask ourselves a pivotal question. Why does Trump's message resonate so profound with countless Americans? Is it merely the charisma of a dynamic leader, or does it hint at a deeper yearning among Americans for genuine, fearless leadership that refuses to be shackled by political correctness? What's undeniable is that Trump's impact on our republic is colossal. His leadership style, defined by its audacious goals and unapologetic pursuit of American greatness, has changed the landscape of American politics. Even his detractors cannot ignore the deep-seated passion he evokes among his supporters. A passion driven by the belief in an America where dreams are realized, voices are heard, and every citizen can bask in the promise of greatness. In conclusion, as we analyze Trump's steadfast demeanor in the face of adversity, it's evident that his resolve is unbreakable. His journey, replete with highs and lows, encapsulates the spirit of a leader unafraid to chart his own course, even when stormy waters lie ahead. As Trump navigates these challenges, his indomitable spirit offers Americans a potent reminder of what true, fearless leadership looks like. As the dust settles on yet another episode in the annals of American politics, one thing remains crystal clear. The spirit of leadership is measured not by how one stands in moments of comfort, but in times of challenge. Donald Trump, love him or question him, has showcased a mettle that many find refreshing in a sea of political conformity. His unwavering stance amidst a barrage of allegations serves as a testament to a leader who remains unshaken in his vision for a greater America. As we step away tonight, remember this: in the vast stage of our republic, it's the fearless leaders who leave the most indelible marks. And in the chronicles of time, their stories are the ones that inspire generations to stand tall, no matter the storm.
President Biden, often so quick to point the racism finger, is now caught in his own racial misstep. Speaking on low unemployment rates for African Americans and Hispanic workers, Biden oddly says, the workers without high school diplomas, implying they're the ones without diplomas. But hold on, most folks over 25 across all ethnic groups have finished high school. This isn't Biden's first rodeo with racially insensitive comments. Remember when he said poor kids are just as bright as white kids? Or how about calling black kids roaches? Despite this, he expects the black vote to be handed over to him on a silver platter. Folks, this is more than a gaffe, it's a pattern. Enough is enough. Dive deeper, get the whole story by tapping the link in our bio. Major developments in New Mexico are fueling resistance movements. Gary?
I want you to picture a state where vast open landscapes have long symbolized freedom and resilience. Now envision that same state, caught in a whirlwind of political maneuvering where constitutional rights hang precariously in the balance. Enter New Mexico, its beating heart, Albuquerque, and vast stretches of Bernalillo County. These places become the battleground for the very principles that define our republic. A governor poised to strike a blow to our sacred Second Amendment, and an army of patriots rising, ready to defend it. Tonight we journey into this constitutional showdown, dissecting every move, every challenge, and trust me, by the end of this special report, you'll be glued to your seat for a revelation, a final thought that might just redefine how you see the battle for America's soul. In the vast landscapes of New Mexico, beneath the endless blue skies, a story of defiance and resilience emerged, a story that echoes the core tenets of our great republic. The backdrop was Albuquerque and its surrounding county, Bernalillo, locales that found themselves embroiled in a heated constitutional tug-of-war. Leading the charge against the rights of everyday Americans was Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham. Cloaked in the language of a public health order, she attempted to impose a ban on law-abiding citizens, forbidding them from carrying firearms within the heart of New Mexico's most bustling city and its neighboring county. This was not just a simple directive. It was a blatant disregard for the Second Amendment, a cornerstone of our republic. The governor's move was audacious, no doubt. Perhaps she believed that in a world filled with headlines, this one might just get lost in the shuffle, but she was mistaken. Patriots, those unwavering custodians of American values, didn't stand idly by. Local and state officials, in an unparalleled display of unity, made a stand. They made it abundantly clear they would not enforce a mandate that infringed upon the rights of their citizens. Their dedication to the principles that our nation holds dear was unwavering. The judicial system, too, recognizing the potential breach of constitutionality, swiftly issued a temporary restraining order against the ban's implementation. However, the tale doesn't end there. In a move reminiscent of the stubbornness that we've often seen from those who'd prioritize control over constitutional rights, Governor Grisham didn't step back entirely. Though she pulled back from her original sweeping ban, her amendment order still tried to restrict freedoms. Parks, playgrounds, those sanctuaries where children play and families bond, were now designated as no-carry zones for legal gun owners. It's essential to understand the subtlety here. While the directive claims to target areas with high violent crime rates, in reality, Albuquerque remained under its shadow. As the narrative unfolds, we discern further overreach. Intent on broadening her executive clout, Governor Grisham sought to address state agencies about matters far removed from gun rights, proclaiming a renewed vigor to combat drug activity. At a news conference, she urged police across all jurisdictions to ensure that illicit substance abuse and drug use were adequately tackled. But while we address political overreach, let's not forget that in an unpredictable world, be it political maneuvering or unforeseen crisis, being prepared is paramount. And that is where My Patriot Supply steps in, offering a timely 25% discount on their 3-month emergency food kit. Ensure your family stands resilient in the face of uncertainty. Visit preparewithgary.com and secure this limited time offer. Now, Governor Grisham's vocalization of the state's challenges seemed more like deflection than genuine concern. She cited obstacles ranging from treatment inadequacies to an overburdened incarceration system and even a paucity of prosecutors. To the discerning patriot, this came across as a mere smokescreen to distract from the core issues at hand. Politics, predictability wove its way into the fray. Republican State Senator Greg Baca, he cast a spotlight on the overtly partisan nuances of the governor's announcement. A news conference without a single Republican invitee? Clearly, the invitation was to present a unilateral narrative, a skewed perspective without a hint of bipartisan input. Yet, what really rattled the cages was Governor Grisham's audacity to cast partisan blame, claiming many Republicans offered no solutions to the state's public safety issues. Watch.
We have a very serious situation in our communities that require serious, immediate results.
However, New Mexico Republicans still feel left behind in the governor's conversation about addressing gun violence.
It was noticeable who was attending the press conference. I know that myself, and I really have no knowledge of any other Republican that was invited to the press conference.
The governor suggested today New Mexico Republicans have offered no solutions towards fixing the problem. Senator Baca argued Republicans presented several solutions during the last legislative session, which he says died in the roundhouse.
We need everybody involved. And what you saw today in the press conference was one side. That leaves out half the state from the discussion, and we just think that's wrong.
Senator Baca added that the state needs to focus on keeping criminals behind bars instead of implementing gun suspensions.
Senator Baca, ever the voice of reason, retorted, reminding all and sundry of GOP-led initiatives that sought genuine solutions like denying bail to repeat offenders. These suggestions, grounded in pragmatism, were unfortunately overshadowed in the legislative session. Baca's genuine concern resounded, quote, "What you saw at the press conference was one side that leaves out half the state of the discussion, and we think that that is wrong." Perhaps the most poignant note struck by Senator Baca was the misdirection of focus. Amid the turmoil, the real issues seemed forgotten. A child's tragic death that had catalyzed the initial order was no longer at the forefront. Instead, the debate had deviated to guns. Quote, "Where is the outcry to find this child's killer? I have not heard that from the executive branch." That's what Baca lamented. This entire saga isn't merely about firearms or partisan politics. It's a testament to the resilience of the American patriot, a testament to the undying spirit that defends the sanctity of our republic's values even in the face of adversity. While leaders might waver and tread on paths that infringe upon rights, patriots hold the line. They ensure that the principles our nation was founded on remain unblemished, and for that America remains eternally grateful. So what transpired in New Mexico wasn't a mere political skirmish. It was a clarion call, a testament to the power of the American spirit. While today's victory in Albuquerque warms the heart of every patriot, it's a stark reminder of the fragility of our liberties in this republic. Every right, every freedom we cherish stands at risk when met with unchecked political ambition. Yesterday was a win, a monumental one at that. But as the sun sets over those vast New Mexican landscapes, remember this: the fight is ongoing. Complacency is our enemy. To protect the values that make America exceptional, our vigilance must never waver. We must remain ever watchful, ever ready, for the battle for America, my friends, is far from over.
The Biden administration's border crisis is spiraling out of control. Just recently, hundreds of migrants were released onto the streets of San Diego by Border Patrol. No guidance, no plan. Talk about incompetence. The footage captured by Fox News reveals the grim reality: overcrowded facilities, unsanitary conditions, and even a COVID-19 ticking time bomb. One migrant asked about traveling to Chicago. Guess what Border Patrol said? You could do whatever you want. You're free. This isn't law enforcement, it's utter recklessness, and this chaos isn't limited to San Diego. Similar scenes are unfolding in Arizona, with a projected 230,000 border encounters for this August alone. It's crystal clear Biden's policies are failing America. Dive deeper, get the whole story by tapping the link in our bio. That's all the news I have for this edition of N3 Prime Time. Now over to Gary with your comments from the comments section.
I do love that sound, don't you? It means it's time for the segment we call the comment section, where we dive into the thoughts you've shared and react to the pulse of America. Tonight we focus on comments from our video about Matt Gaetz' House floor bombshell that sent McCarthy into meltdown mode. Our first comment comes from Vaughn, who says we need a speaker with a pair, not indebted to the Republican establishment. Vaughn, my friend, you're preaching to the choir. We don't need a leader molded from the same tired do-nothing clay that's shaped establishment Republicans for decades. We need someone who isn't just a sock puppet for the old guard. It's high time for leaders with backbone, with courage, and, what dare I say, a pair. Next up is Lizette, who says, Matt should have been elected Speaker of the House from the beginning. Way to go, Matt Gaetz. Lizette, you have nailed it. Matt Gaetz is the kind of politician who isn't afraid to swing a sledgehammer at the walls of the swamp. Just imagine what the House would look like with Gaetz holding that gavel. No more of this tiptoeing around sensitive issues. It'd be a full-on charge to drain that swamp. Now we have John, who says, when the Republicans were battling things out as they should, I did not trust McCarthy, and 9 months later, you may see why. Well, John, you're a man after my own heart. Skepticism towards McCarthy isn't just warranted, it's essential. 9 months down the line, and what do we have? A speaker in waiting who seems more worried about stepping on toes than leading a charge. It's not prophecy, it's observation. And then we have Steph, who writes, the Rhino GOP has needed a good kick in the ass for years now. Good job, Matt. MAGA 2024. Steph, amen to that. We've had enough of these so-called Republicans who would rather bend to the whims of the left than stand up for conservative principles. What we need is a size 12 boot to kick the complacency out of this stale party. And if that boot is worn by Matt Gaetz, all the better. Finally, we have a comment from Dean, who says, McCarthy is just slow-walking everything. Let's clean out all the rhinos, Democrats, in disguise. Dean, you hit the bullseye. We don't need slow walkers. We need sprinters, runners, and fighters. McCarthy's speed isn't just disappointing, it's disqualifying. Rhinos in the GOP are like wolves in sheep's clothing. It's time to shear them away. So thank you for tuning into the comments section. It's you, the people, who make this country what it is. And from what I'm reading, it sounds like you're just fed up with the status quo and hungry for real change. And I couldn't agree more. So let's see, who are we looking at tonight? Tonight, in our Looking at You segment, we're focusing on a man who has been making waves for years, not just as a comedian, but as someone who dares to go against the mainstream narrative. That's right, we're talking about Russell Brand, and folks, the sharks are circling. Now, why would big media outlets in the United Kingdom, like the Sunday Times, the Times, and Channel 4 Dispatch, suddenly have Russell Brand in their crosshairs? Well, the reason is as clear as day. Russell Brand dared to challenge the establishment, and for that, he's found himself the target of an unyielding smear campaign. But let's pause for a second and examine the facts. Russell Brand is accused by 4 individuals of assaults. Now, I'm no lawyer, but last time I checked, accusations are not convictions. In fact, there hasn't even been a single police investigation initiated. Zip, zero, nada. So why the rush, mainstream media? Why the sprint to tarnish a man's name without allowing the wheels of justice to turn? This is nothing short of a public execution by headline, and let me tell you, it's a stain on the very idea of journalism. Now, Russell Brand isn't your run-of-the-mill celebrity. Over the years, he's made a name for himself as a critic of the media landscape, providing a counter-narrative that doesn't always sit well with the powers that be. Let's face it, the media can't stand it when someone calls them out on their game. And here's the kicker. Russell Brand saw this coming. Just last Friday, he took to video to address the very serious criminal allegations against him. He didn't hide. He didn't run. He addressed them head-on, saying his past relationships were consensual, and he even raised a warning flag that there seems to be a, quote, serious and concerted agenda to silence him. Now, why would he say that unless he felt the hot breath of the media wolves bearing down on him? You may wonder why this matters to you sitting at home, thousands of miles away from the UK, but don't kid yourself. What's happening to Russell Brand isn't an isolated incident. It's a symptom of a much larger disease in our society, a disease that seeks to silence, to intimidate, and to control anyone who dares to question conventional wisdom. The silencing of Russell Brand is an ominous sign for freedom of speech and independent thought. Today it's him. Tomorrow it could be you, your spouse, your friend, anyone who doesn't fit neatly into the narrative constructed by those who hold the megaphone. And that, America, should concern us all. Because if we let this go unchecked, if we let voices be stifled for daring to think differently, then we aren't just losing figures like Russell Brand, we're losing the very fabric of our free society. And that's why today we're looking at you, Russell Brand. As we close out tonight's show, let's reflect on the critical stories that we've explored. There's the undeniable restlessness coursing through the veins of our nation. Nearly half of you, according to the Reuters Ipsos poll, want to peel back the layers of the Biden administration, seeking the truth hidden behind the allegations of influence peddling. Why? Because integrity still matters to the American people, despite what elites in Washington may think. And speaking of Washington, this city often acts like a distant planet, disconnected from the struggles you face every day. But you aren't fooled. A staggering 59% of you disapprove of Biden's economic management. You feel the pinch when you pay for groceries or gas. You see through the fog of empty promises. It's a sentiment that's echoed across partisan lines, and it's high time our leaders took notice. The theater of politics sometimes distracts from the substance, whether it's the sartorial shifts in the Senate or bureaucratic battles over civil service. We mustn't forget that these are more than headlines. They're symptoms of deeper ideological divides. These battles matter because they shape the country that we leave for our children. And finally, let's talk about leadership, or the lack thereof. From Biden's missteps on race to the border crisis, the current administration seems to be stumbling in a field that it claimed to dominate: compassion, equity, and governance. And then there's Donald Trump, a man who, whether you love or hate him, personifies resilience in the face of a relentless political war. In times like these, the character of our leaders is revealed, and you, the American people, have a right to scrutinize, to question, and to demand better. The collective wisdom of the populace often trumps the narrow perspectives of the elite. So that is a wrap for tonight's enlightening edition of N3 Primetime. A huge thank you to Angie for delivering those critical news briefs that keep us all informed and on our toes, and of course, to all of you, our esteemed viewers, for not just tuning in, but participating actively in the live chat. And a special hat tip to all of our moderators who are keeping it clean so we can have good, lively discussion. Your voices are the engine that drives this machine. Now, let's talk for a moment about investing. In a world where politicians can't seem to find their backbone, where we're calling out rhinos and urging for stronger leadership, why would you entrust your financial future to a shaky foundation? And just as you wouldn't want a spineless politician leading the charge, you wouldn't want your hard-earned money to be at the mercy of an unstable economy. And that is where Noble Gold Investments come in. Take it from actual Noble Gold Investment customers who say securing my future is less stressful thanks to Noble Gold's expertise. And they're currently offering this bad boy. This is a beast of a coin. It's a 5-ounce silver America the Beautiful bullion coin, only for qualified accounts. I love this thing. So, why settle for financial uncertainty? Visit nextnewsgold.com. They are the only gold company that I trust. Remember, you're not just spectators. You are the key to making America great again. If you've enjoyed our time together tonight, tell a friend, share the link, and let's keep this movement going. I'm Gary Franchi, and let me remind you, I'm not here to turn you into followers. No, I'm here to inspire leaders among the people. Good night, America. We'll see you tomorrow.